Hello friends, welcome to this Excel tutorial. Imagine you're working with a company's expense dataset and your task is to find the employee IDs who used only cash and never used card. It sounds simple, right? But what if some employee used cash as well as card and you don't want that as an answer? You just want employees who used cash. So how to solve this? First, we'll see the simple filter method and we'll see why it doesn't work. Second, we will solve this with a dynamic COUNTIFS function. Third, we'll see how to solve this with pivot table. By the end of this video, you will know exactly how to analyze this type of data effectively. Let's dive in and understand the dataset. You have employee IDs, you have expense type, amount, and you have cash or card transactions. To add a filter to your dataset, you can use a shortcut Ctrl+Shift+L, and now let's just filter it with cash transactions. When you filter it with cash transactions, it gets filtered and it gives you the cash transactions for the employee IDs. And you can take this employee IDs, come to your new sheet, copy it, and go to your data, remove duplicates, and now you got the list of employees who used cash transactions. But this filter function doesn't check if any of this employee used card as well. It just say cash transactions. So this is not accurate. We just need to find out employee IDs who used only cash in your dataset. To remove your filters, again you can type Ctrl+Shift+L. It's a shortcut. So now what we are saying, 204. Now if you see this 204, it used cash. That is fine, we need it, but it also used card transaction. So we don't need this 204 ID, right? We need only the employee IDs who used only cash transactions. Now let's solve the problem dynamically using the COUNTIFS formula. Add a helper column, name it anything. Let's name it transaction type check and use a formula here that is equal to count if. Now here if you see there are two if and ifs. We will use IFS and not IF because IF can only handle one condition like counting how many times the card appeared in the column D. But COUNTIFS allow us to check multiple conditions such as matching the employee ID in column A and ensuring the payment type in column D is card. So we'll use COUNTIFS. What is our criteria range 1? That is our employee ID. What is our criteria 1? We are trying to figure out employee ID. Now what this formula does, it checks if the employee ID in column A matches the employee ID in current row. For example, if the employee ID is 201, it will look for all the rows where the employee ID is 201, okay, comma, criteria range 2 is your card column and you want to find if it has a card transaction. So in inverted commas, you will write card, close the inverted commas. This is our first set of formula, okay. Now when we press enter, you can see some numbers here and now you can come here and do a double click. Now let's use a filter again, Ctrl+Shift+L, and let's filter it with 0. Now if you see, we got the answer like 201 employee and 208 employee only use cash transactions. Now if we use anything more than 0, we will see all these employees, they used card as well as cash. Now we got our answer, but it's in numbers. Now to make it little logical, we will wrap this formula with if function. So we'll use if open bracket. This is our logical test. And now we are saying if this is greater than 0, okay, then write as has card, and if it is less than 0 or 0, then write only cash. So we are using if function to give it a meaningful name instead of just numbers. Now when I say okay, and now you can see if I come here and do a double click, and now when I see only cash, you will see 201 is the only cash and 208 is the only cash. So they never use card. This is how you can solve this with using a COUNTIFS dynamic function. Now you know to remove the filter, what you will do, Ctrl+Shift+L. Now let's delete this and see how to solve it with the pivot tables. This is your data. To convert it into a table, press Ctrl+T, okay, say okay. You can give any name to your table. Let's give data, and if you want to remove this coloring, you can come here and take a lighter one. Now you can come to your new sheet. Let's remove this one, insert, click on pivot table. You know what you have given the name, which is data, okay. Now you will drag employee ID in rows area and drag cash or card in your column area, and now again drop cash or card in your values area. Now whenever the card is blank, you know they never used a card. So if you see the 201 and 208, we got the same answer with the COUNTIFS. This is good, but the only problem is if your data set is very large, it becomes a little bit of issue, okay. So that is why for a smaller data set, you can use pivot table very quickly. But if you have a data set very large, then use COUNTIFS formula. So with the pivot table, you quickly got your answer.